Breeze Nation, what's good? Bet I'm Bears fans. Breaking news, broke a little while ago, but really just getting the first opportunity to talk about it as Dayo Odeyingbo out for the rest of the season with a torn Achilles after yesterday's game. A move that was already a heavily questioned move now gets even worse as he will now miss the remainder of his first season here in Chicago. Let me know how you guys are feeling about this in the comments below. I mean, this is a move that has been, the signing of Dayo Odeyingbo was a heavily questioned move in the first place. I mean, you didn't see the sack production when you signed him. You didn't know what that was going to be. On top of that, you haven't seen the sack production here in Chicago. And so you kind of are sitting in this spot now where, you know, your hope is that he's able to recover healthy and you're able to survive, but the Bears' injury woes continue to heighten. And now I think it does make perfect sense to try and go out and find one of those big pass rushers that you're hoping can make an impact on this team in the long run. Here's the tough part about that, though. Are you in a position to give up draft capital when you probably need that draft capital to go out there and pick these guys up? And I thought, you know, there was some on after the whistle yesterday. I think it was Jim that brought it up when he said, Jim Miller, former Bears quarterback, when he said that you can't afford to go out and just give up draft picks when your bottom of the barrel guys, your end of the bench guys who are usually your special teamers are also making as many mistakes, meaning you have to bring that floor up. The Bears right now just getting banged up from every angle on this one. Pause. It feels like that they can't catch a break here when it comes to the injury news on the defense, and Dennis Allen is going to have some tough things here to overcome. And I think the biggest part of this is the fact that, you know, of course, the question mark around the player, but for what it's worth, Dayo setting the edge in the run game felt like, you know, in that last game he was starting to do better in that. The last three games, the Bears have handled the run game really well. You were starting to find some answers in that, and now, you know, you go back to the drawing board. The question marks still remain, and I would assume this means bigger role here for Austin Booker, who, remember, right, he was at a position where 21 days on IR, or could have been activated off IR. They didn't activate him. Seems like now he could have that opportunity not only to be activated, which he was activated, played in the game, got a sack, but still had limited snaps in that game. Now you wonder, okay, is this your main guy? Are you going to get to see the full complement of what Austin Booker can do? Is this next man up, or do you go out there and try to make a move? To me, if you're the Chicago Bears, I do think you still have to have that next man up mentality. But I do think there's more of a reason to go out and try and trade for an edge rusher now. But again, right, you talk about a guy like Julian Phillips who got traded away today for a third-round pick. Are the Bears in a position to give up third-round picks to go after edge rushers right now when you need to be hitting on these draft picks? And I get it, people. The conversation a lot of people are going to say is, well, Pat, Ryan Poles isn't hitting on the draft picks anyway, so why not go out and get a proven player? I understand that. I get what you're saying when you bring that up. But that's not the mindset you can go with when you're going into every draft. Listen, there's guys that need to make an impact on this team. That's just the way it is. And I don't think that Daniel Hardy is really the guy that's going to get slotted in there on that defensive end spot, although I would be intrigued to see what he's able to bring versus the number one type guys. I would assume that it probably is Austin Booker. But even with that, right, where's your depth going to come from? You have to make moves to adjust to this injury. Are you going to bring guys up off of the practice squad? Are the guys that you feel could Tano Passanio possibly be back in the mix here, who does have a sack with the Bears this season? Could he possibly be back in the mix here to get back into Chicago? So I don't know what the answer is here. I think that this is a tough one to deal with overall, and hopefully the Chicago Bears team can find a way to go out and add guys here before the deadline tomorrow that can create pressure. I think now more than ever, you know, when we hear that Jay Glazer report yesterday that the Chicago Bears are going to be uber aggressive at the deadline here, to me now you really, it's a two-edged sword here, because I don't want to give up the draft capital, but I guess, right, if you see the offense doing what it's doing in that game and you feel like you're starting to pick up steam, 5-3 right now, you know, and you need to add to this team in a division where there's a lot of guys banged up in this division, you could still be very competitive in this division and not be at full strength, because Minnesota has that same situation with a couple of guys over there, right? Like the Lions have had a couple of guys banged up again this year. So like now your main guys are there, but like now you're like, okay, well, we can still stay competitive in the division if we add to this team. I think that it's something that you have to look at if you are the Bears. I mentioned Bradley Chubb as a name. He's 29 years old, had the ACL injury last year. Seems like he's still kind of getting himself back in the groove with it this year. Don't know if that would be a guy that the Bears want to go after. I don't know what Trey Hendrickson would cost at this point if you were going to go for one of those big name guys that has been with Dennis Allen before. To me, I think make a move that is a solidified move. Is Bradley Chubb a solidified move, or is that another Montez Sweat type of move if you were to make that decision to go out and try and trade for him when the Miami Dolphins are selling? That's the tough question that you have to ask yourself. Like, yes, Bradley Chubb is having a down year, but it seems like everybody's kind of done in Miami and that they're all having down years. But could that also just be that he's regressing back to the mean? I mean, the biggest years sack-wise that we've seen him have were 8, I believe, and 11. Once he had 8 sacks in Denver, and maybe I'm getting that mixed up. I don't have the numbers in front of me here. But once he had 8 sacks in Denver, and I think he had 1 year with 11 sacks that first year in Miami where you were getting some really good utilization out of him. Maybe you could find that magic yet again, but I don't want to trade for a guy just because of the name. I want to trade for a guy that's actually going to be productive and not only get sack numbers, but also get pressures. Because I know some people had mentioned possibly going after a guy like Chase Young. I'd be incredibly interested in bringing Chase Young here. But you have to know Chase Young is just the sack numbers. You're not going to get a ton of pressures. You're not going to get some great run stopping from Chase Young. And I think that's what the Bears were hoping to get when they brought in a guy like Dayo Odeyingbo, some of that inside-outside run stop ability. You would hoped that he was going to be able to come back for you and you would be able to make a move there. But unfortunately, that is not going to be the case here for the Bears. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. Do you think that the loss of Dayo Odeyingbo is kind of the exclamation point or the final stamping of that being a really bad signing this offseason? And do you feel like, maybe that there was something that was getting better there with what Dayo was doing? And on top of that, now with him out, do you want to see the Chicago Bears team go out there and add to the team? Let me know how you guys feel, like I said, down in the comments below. Heading to the studio. We'll be live for Monday Night Football tonight, so make sure to tap in with us on that as well. And appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. As always, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer. Back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down. One love. Let's hope we can recover from all these injuries, man. Peace.